All right, today we're going to talk about holiday marketing. Now, this is going to be kind of a multi-part video series that I'm going to do. And what it's based around is marketing your party rental business around the different holidays throughout the year so that you're constantly being exposed to the customer at a particular time and invoking certain emotions because of the holiday seasons or because of the things that are going on. This can be very, very powerful for you and create an opportunity within your business so that you can kind of bounce from one to the other. And it also, if you follow this plan, is an easy way to kind of stay on a schedule and do your marketing at the same time, getting in front of the customer and doing the things that you want. Now, we're starting this now, and it's pretty close to spring now, and this is going to carry on. You guys can use this next year and 10 years down the road. But the reason that I'm starting now instead of at the beginning of the year is because the beginning of the year doesn't create the opportunity for you to use the marketing that's going to be there and to get an instant response. So this is the time that we're starting to come out of the shell, and we're starting to look at our spring and things that are coming up in the future. It's also one of the biggest seasons of the year for party rental businesses because the weather is starting to get nicer, and you can go outdoors and be a part of it in the whole 9 yards. So we're gonna start now at this season, spring or March, April, and kind of go around and then end at November, December, January, February, the winter months, because there's a different technique that's used there. All right, when you're marketing for your holidays, it's really important to understand that you're not marketing for today. You're marketing for the future. Throughout this marketing campaign, I want you to pepper something that is constant in your industry. Birthday parties or weddings or whatever it be, whatever your particular business kind of shoots for. If you're in tents, obviously you're doing weddings or outdoor events, something like that. If you're in inflatables, you're doing backyard parties and birthday parties and things like that. So I want you to pepper all of this marketing with a constant stream of your core customer and keep that going as well. And what it'll do is each will bounce off of each other, and it'll also break it up so that you're not constantly hitting somebody with a St. Patrick's Day ad, and they quickly become bored of you or whatever. They'll get a St. Patrick's Day or whatever the holiday is, and a birthday party kind of mixed in there, and it'll move back and forth. It's very important that you do that. Kind of keeps it fresh and kind of keeps them in the front, and it also lets them understand that you are not a one pony show. You will be able to do multiple events, and they can do multiple events as well. Also, think beyond holidays for special events. End of school is huge all the way around. So make sure that you do not forget end of school and that you start marketing for it. In fact, we're going to start off with end of school right now. All right, when you're talking about end of school, there's two different things that's going on. One, the schools themselves are going to have an event that they're promoting within the school, and they can do testing celebrations, or they can do just simply the end of the year, or they can do a multitude of different things, but it's all basically the same thing. End of school parties for schools. Now there's some things that you need to look for when you're doing this and when you're marketing this. One, you're going to go directly to the school, so you're either going to do that through email, through direct mail, or through phone calls or personal visits. I don't suggest you do phone calls or personal visits unless you have an appointment, because they're busy at school and they can't be bombarded with this. So make sure that you set those appointments before you do show up, or you have a phone call. The other thing is that you make sure that you're right before you even start with a school. Okay? If you're a little guy and you're not got insurance, or you don't have the amount of equipment that you're going to need to do one or more big school events, meaning you got to have at least 5, 6, 10 units, you probably need to avoid that. Now, that doesn't mean that you're out of the game. Little guys need to market towards private end of school events, backyards end of school events. And you can do this the same way that you do any other party. You simply just put it on the social media apps and using those to promote it as a backyard party instead of going to a school. Again, make sure you're right before you start going to schools, because if you don't have the qualifications, if you don't have the items that you need, you're literally going to put a bad taste in people's mouth, and you're going to create a situation where you're looked down upon, and maybe even the whole industry is looked down upon because you're doing something that is that you're not prepared for. And again, I'm not making any strikes at anybody. You start where you start, and this is the way that you build your business. I get it. I was there too. And when I first started, I didn't have the capacity to do a lot of the schools and stuff like that. Simply, I didn't have the equipment. So what I had to do was build up to that. And you can do that, but you got to stay on target. So into school events, again, if you're going for the schools, come up with a marketing plan based around mailer or email. You can find your schools in your area very, very easily. In fact, if you look under your Board of Education website, they probably will have a list of all the schools in your area. You're looking for elementary and middle schools more so than high schools. Now, you may have equipment that deals towards high school, and if you do so, then you can shift towards them. Photo booths, things that you would be using for proms or something like that. Those kind of things obviously are going to put you in a market to where you can market towards the high schools, and you need to get in there soon, because they're going to be looking for stuff at the first part of the season right now. So get in there early and do that. If you're talking about inflatables, obviously the middle school, elementary schools, you need to make sure that you put some colorful brochures together or emails, some packages that make sense. You want equipment that they're going to move through, because there's going to be a lot of kids going through there at one time. So you don't want a situation, even if they break it down to certain classes or something like that, you don't want a situation where you got a bounce house or something and you got 50 kids trying to bounce around in a bounce house. And you make it easy for them, and you create the situation that works for them. You want units that are spectacles as well as fun to play. So things that people can watch as well as participate in, but are not choke points. You don't want things that are going to stop the kids in their tracks, or create lines, or create crowds, or create situations where they're going to argue or fight or push or do any of the stuff that kids do. The easier you make it, the more you're going to be appreciated. Now, if you're monitoring these units, you need to make sure you're properly staffed. And I have a rule of thumb is that I don't correct students. I don't correct. It's not my child. I don't talk to them. I do talk to them, but I don't correct them. That's up to the teacher. So I make that as one of the rules up front, is that I need someone that I can address issues with. So when you're talking about a kid that's breaking the rules, you don't talk directly to the kid unless it's something that's immediately going to cause an injury or an accident or something like that. Then obviously you need to step forward. But if you see a kid that's doing something wrong and repeatedly doing something wrong, there needs to be a teacher or a principal or somebody that you can go to, that you can kind of relay that this is the problem and I need this to stop. Inevitably, you hold the keys, so what you can do is you can pull the plug. Obviously, you don't do that with kids on it, but if things come to a situation, and it's a safety hazard. There's too many of them. They're pushing the whole 9 yards. Get them off of the units, let the units down, let the situation calm down, and let the kids understand that there are consequences for actions that go beyond, you know, doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that is that, you know, the play stops. Anyway, we'll do a whole new video on how to do these kind of events. But what you need to focus on is getting it into these schools and making sure you're doing it. Now, there's things that you need to also keep in mind when you're dealing with schools. First and foremost, scheduling. You got to make sure that you're avoiding school traffic and bus traffic, and you know, you got to be there at a certain time before the school starts, but after a certain time, because you know, people aren't ready for you at a certain time, and so you make sure that you schedule all this and you know, work with it. So that means that you've got to keep your schedule flexible, and you got to be in a situation where you can move, you know, in and out and get it done and taken care of. Bring help. Don't try to do this on your own and turn it into a 5-hour setup when, you know, you've only got an hour and a half to set it up in the morning before school starts. The backyard party side of it, this is for the little guys. Social media, you're going to market, again, promote the idea that their children has accomplished something, they've achieved another year of school or whatever like that, and they deserve a party. How about a end of year party with your equipment, and show bright and colorful things. These are the kind of things that you're going to use the smaller units, or the units that are more enclosing, because it's only going to be a few people, you know, up to 10 people at a time will be at these kind of backyard school parties. As far as kids playing, there'll be adults there watching and stuff like that, but as far as the kids playing, most times it's just a dozen or so that are there. Again, make sure that you're flexible on this, and make sure that you understand that you're probably going to have a load at one time, so make sure you have the proper help to get it there and get it taken care of. These are kind of going to be opportunities for you to do multi-rentals on a weekend, so that you can do something Friday night and maybe even Saturday or Sunday. So if you're set up to do those kind of things, make sure you have the staff to get in there, get it picked up, and get it turned around, cleaned and turned around, so that you can get it back out for the next day. That's how the little guy makes money, is volume, turning the units. That's your strength. The big guy doesn't have. The big guy is literally going to do volume in numbers of units. You're going to do it in, you know, turnaround times. So, you know, that's important. So into school, again, always look for the opportunity to spread the ideas. Ask them if you can put out signs. Ask them if you can pass out flyers. Ask them if you can do things that will allow you to get the word out that you're doing the into school thing. Even if you have to come off the price a little bit and call it a donation in exchange for advertising or something like that, that helps you a whole lot, because there's a ton of parents and a ton of kids that are going to see your equipment, and it would be great if you were able to you know, do that kind of thing. There are tons of ideas on what you can do to kind of get in front of the parents, and it takes a little bit of time and scheduling. One of the things is you know, sponsoring a t-shirt to where you pay a certain amount, or all of, if you can find a t-shirt vendor that's small, that's, you know, that's cheap enough, you pay for the t-shirt. The t-shirt allows you to tell who's able to play at what time or whatever, however they work out the rules of their end of school party, and let the kid keep the t-shirt, the field day t-shirt or whatever, and have your name and logo on that, and they take it home with them, they see it, and they know to call you, or however it works. Again, always think about marketing. Always think about getting in front of the customer and keeping them in the front of the mind that you're there to do business, and that you're there to take care of their party. So when do you start your back to school, or your end of school parties, I should say? End of school parties, you need to start advertising from them at the time that anytime that they return from school after winter break, before spring break. So it's kind of a big time there, but you need to be out there because schools probably plan further ahead than anyone else out there. So when you're looking at a school, it should be one of the first things that you're advertising for and starting to put your stuff there. Be ready when it's time to advertise. Don't start putting your plan together at the time that you're supposed to be sending it out, because it will take you a little bit of time to get everything together. So make sure you do that and are on top of that and keep that going so that you know when and where to do it. Probably the biggest spring holiday that's out there is Easter. Now, in order to market to Easter, what you're looking for are who's going to hold the Easter egg hunts. Mainly, it's going to be churches and municipalities, your governments, maybe even some big companies. So when you're marketing towards them, what you need to do is make sure that you find the ones that are actually doing what they're doing. And this is going to take you some time. You're going to have to get to know some people well in advance. January, February, you should be already have talked to many of the people that are in charge of the special events, and these people will be able to tell you, what they're going to be planning, what they have in store, and how you can fit into that. Easter is a funny event in that it is one of the few holidays that pay for plays don't work at all. You're not going to be able to put, and you may have a customer that'll ask you to try to save money. Hey, can you just bring the bounces in here, and you could charge $1 or whatever and make your money back, and it would be really great for us and everybody would be happy. When they give candy for free, they don't pay for something, okay? Easter and Halloween are probably the two biggest, where you don't get a whole lot of pay for play action going on. So try to avoid anyone that wants you to charge per customer for something like that. It just doesn't work. Going to your churches, going to your municipalities, going to your big companies, let them know that you want to help them with their Easter egg hunt. Things that you can do is provide some of the eggs, or even a prize egg. If you put together a big prize egg that has something that allows you to kind of stand out, maybe a t-shirt and a coloring book and things like that, cash money, whatever works, put it in a big egg and make that your big prize egg, and you can donate it to it and get some advertising at the same time. Also, signage and banners and things, help them with the advertising of their event by putting your logo out there. Hey, we're going to be at First Baptist Church with all of our great inflatables. Come out and see us. And you could do that on social media as well. Now, when you're doing these events, again, make sure you are set and you have the equipment that you're going to need. If you're a smaller company, try to go again for the backyards or the smaller churches that are only going to require a couple of units. Again, you can make the money off of these, and there's plenty of them out there. And I promise you, most of them would be more than happy to have you helping them put their event together. So these kind of events are usually short, usually a couple of hours, and they're the kind of things where when they want it gone, they want it gone. So you got to be able to get in there and get it out of their yard or out of their parking lot or gym or whatever they're going to have it at, so that they can close the doors and go home and not have to worry about it. So it's going to take staffing to be able to get in there, set it up, and then get in there and move it out. Easter's a Sunday event, again. So remember, if you have weekend stuff going on, you need to be able to make sure that you leave plenty for those events, because it's going to be kind of a big thing. It's also a holiday where people won't adhere to the actual date. They'll kind of expand it. So you may have Easter egg hunts on the Saturday before, or you know, anytime. So you need to kind of be mindful of that as well. Some of the companies may, you know, decide that they want to do it while, you know, it's at work, so they may do it during the week on the Monday after Easter or something like that. Keep all this in mind, and again, it's all about planning. It's all about being in there and getting it all taken care of. The more planning you put into this, the less problems you're going to have, and the less you're going to have to deal with. And also, the more you're going to impress the customer and let them come back to you. Easter is a big event with a lot of interest in our equipment and our type of equipment. So make sure that you utilize that, and it'll give them a good start. And again, it's another one of those events where you're going to have lots of opportunity to do some cross marketing. You're going to be able to get out there in front of all these people and show them the products that you have. So make sure you have logos and signs and signage and cards and banners and everything that you can get out there to show that you have you have the equipment and they can rent it to you from you. After Easter is spring break usually, or it may be depending on the year, depending on the school, depending on a lot of different, it may actually be during or before. Spring break is big because it gives an opportunity for kids to be out a length of time, and it also gives a huge opportunity for local business that is a weekday business in the middle of the year. Huge. You don't get that usually until summer. So again, market for it, pre-plan for it, get in the position to where you're ready to go, and what you can do is put out there that, you know, you have a weekday special, you know, however you want to work it, as far as giving them an opportunity to rent your products and making a sale that normally you wouldn't get during the middle of the week. Spring break usually is in part with better weather, so because of the time of year, but there may be some winter weather that sneaks up on you, or some wet weather that sneaks up on you, so be ready for that as well. Also create that opportunity for you to be able to do the business without having to be worried about your regular business on the weekends. If you get your stuff out in the middle of the week and you don't get it cleaned up or straightened out, and it's ready to go out on the weekend, you may be in trouble with trying to juggle way too much stuff at one time. Spring break is easy for you to find out when it is, and the cool thing is that the schools that surround you usually hit at different times, so you can focus on one area and then move on to the next, and just kind of rubber stamp the same package over to the other area that's going on the spring break 1 or 2 weeks later. Again, take some planning, take some time, take some energy to put forth. But once you get that down, and once you have that that process down, it makes it really, really easy for you to just kind of duplicate it and keep going. After spring break, probably the next major event that's coming up would be Mother's Day. Mother's Day is always dealt as backyard stuff. And it is an opportunity for you to give moms a break. I always market it as, you know, get the kids out of the house and let mom have a break with them driving them wild. Now that doesn't mean that, you know, they can't monitor the kids or whatever. Somebody always has to monitor the kids, but it does create a situation where the kids are occupied and it gives mom something to do. So I always market it to men that Mother's Day, rent a bounce house and, you know, occupy the kids so that mom can take a break. That's how I always do it, and I always get several rentals out of the year because of that, and it gives me the opportunity to make that extra money, and again puts me in the front of the brain so that they're thinking about me at that first part of the, you know, May, or that really is going to move forward. Again, there's some little things, and there may be some local things that may be going on in your area that fall in between there. And again, you need to make sure, the rule of thumb is that major holidays is 6 to 8 weeks of planning, So you need to start marketing around that time, 6 to 8 weeks prior to. Minor holidays is much shorter. It's only about 4 weeks. So you can do that. Also, make sure you overlay your holidays so that, again, you're breaking it up and you're not bombarding people with a bunch of Easter holiday stuff or Halloween stuff all at one time and making a situation where they're like, oh, this guy, I'm so sick and tired of this bouncy guy and his Halloween scary stuff. If you have Halloween mixed with a little bit of, you know, early Thanksgiving stuff, mixed with fall break school stuff, mixed with birthday stuff, because birthdays all year round, then what you're doing is creating a situation where you're breaking it up and doing those things that separate it and keep the people, you know, in the front of the brain and thinking about you and your business and how you're going to help them and how you're going to make money. So that's probably going to be the first video on our spring holidays. We'll follow this up with some more, and we'll also be filling in some more gaps with ideas and things that you need to be doing to make sure that you get your marketing stuff right. I'll also do some videos on specific types of marketing through Facebook, through Instagram, through Google, so that you can make sure that you have, you know, the right kind of thing. Honestly, to tell you the truth, there is right now not a whole lot of other ways to do it, but the good news is that if you do it and do it right, you can get some free marketing out there in front of people just by, you know, using those things that you have in front of you and creating this opportunity. Also, you have to be mindful when you start marketing that you stay on top of the communication chains. If you're not answering your phone, if you're not receiving the messages and returning messages on your messenger or text, or, you know, however you got it worked out, the customer will quickly move on. So what you've done is you've planted the idea in their brain and then pushed them right over to another company or competition because you didn't answer your messages or you didn't answer your phone. Make sure you stay on top of that. People understand that you're busy too and that you have a life too, but they do want you to communicate. So make sure that you always communicate. Super key that you keep on top of that. You keep going with that, and you keep going, you know, in front of the customer's mind. Keep in front of their mind. Keep the idea that they need your bounce house or your tent or your portable restroom or whatever you're marketing for. They need that at their event, and that would be, you know, beneficial for everybody. You guys, look out for those other videos. Give me a like and subscribe, please, and let's keep this going. Again, follow these rules, and I promise you, you're going to be on top of it with these holidays. Just staying with your holiday schedule and moving forward with it and keeping your business growing. Thanks.